My beloved child, today is not ordinary, and this moment is not random. December 21st has arrived carrying a weight that heaven hath been watching for a long time. Archangel Michael stands close right now, and his voice is firm yet protective as he says, "Don't try to ignore this. What is coming to light is not meant to harm you but to free you. The person you love deeply has been carrying a bitter truth in silence, and what hurts the most is this: almost everyone around you already sensed it. Everyone except you. Last night marked a turning point, and even if no words were spoken, something shifted in the unseen. This message found you because your spirit is ready to hear what your heart has been shielding you from. Hear this carefully. Archangel Michael is not accusing you, and he is not condemning the one you love. He's revealing. There is a difference. You have been loyal with your emotions, pure with your intentions, and consistent with your prayers. You trusted with your whole heart, believing that love alone could carry the weight of silence. But heaven says silence has been speaking loudly, and your soul has felt it in ways your mind tried to explain away. Those restless thoughts, that sudden heaviness, the moments when joy felt interrupted for no clear reason, those were signals, not weakness. Now listen closely, because this is where it becomes intense. The bitter truth is not simply about what was hidden. It is about why it was hidden from you specifically. Others noticed the distance. Others felt the inconsistency. Others heard fragments, saw signs, or sensed the shift. But you were kept in the dark because your heart is deep, forgiving, and hopeful. Archangel Michael says this was not accidental. There are people who stay quiet not because they want to protect you, but because they fear losing the version of you that loves without questions. Something happened last night in the spiritual realm. A conversation, a realization, or even a private decision was made that did not include you, yet it directly affects you. That is why this message feels urgent. Heaven is interrupting the pattern, not to shame anyone, but to stop you from continuing to give your full heart to partial truth. Archangel Michael is placing his sword of clarity between confusion and reality, and he says, "You deserve to see clearly now." Let this sink in. You are not behind. You are being preserved. If you had known too early, the pain would have broken something tender inside you. If you had known too late, you might have lost yourself trying to hold something together that was already shifting. His timing is precise. December 21st is a threshold moment, a line between what you tolerated and what you will no longer accept. The truth you are about to realize is not meant to make you feel foolish. It is meant to make you feel strong. Archangel Michael wants you to understand something very important. The person you love may never directly say this truth out loud. Not because they are cruel, but because they are conflicted. They are carrying fear, guilt, and uncertainty all at once. But heaven does not require confession to bring revelation. What is hidden can still be uncovered through awareness, patterns, and divine confirmation. You are about to notice small things aligning, words not matching actions, energy not matching promises, and timing that suddenly makes sense. You'll not rush to confront. You'll not rush to withdraw. This moment is about seeing. Archangel Michael is asking you to observe with calm strength. When you stop forcing clarity, clarity comes to you. When you stop explaining away discomfort, truth steps forward. You are not meant to chase answers right now. You are meant to let answers reveal themselves naturally, without resistance. There is a reason this message says, "Open immediately." Not your phone. Not a message. Open your inner eyes. Open your discernment. Open the part of you that already knows something is different. You have been feeling it, especially in quiet moments. That gentle ache is not fear, it is intuition waking up. And intuition, when guided by heaven, never lies. Archangel Michael is also reminding you of your value. You are not someone who should be kept last to know. You are not someone whose feelings are optional. You carry a light that deserves honesty around it. Whatever this bitter truth is connected to, it does not define your worth. It reveals where you have been overgiving and underprotected. And that changes today. Stay grounded right now. Drink water. Breathe deeply. Pay attention to what unfolds over the next short while. Words may slip. Situations may expose themselves. For a sudden inner knowing may rise without explanation. Trust that. This is not the end of something. It is the correction of a path. Archangel Michael does not come to destroy. He comes to realign. If this message is stirring something deep inside you, it is because your spirit recognizes the voice behind it. What is unfolding next will bring clarity, strength, and a new level of self-respect that you have been stepping into quietly. This is only the beginning of the unveiling, and what comes next will connect the dots you have been holding separately. My precious one, what you are feeling right now is the aftershock of truth brushing past your spirit. Archangel Michael remains near, not rushing you, not pressuring you, but standing as a steady guard while your inner world recalibrates. When truth begins to surface, it often arrives quietly before it arrives clearly. That is why you may feel unusually reflective today, replaying moments, rereading expressions, and suddenly remembering things you once dismissed. This is not obsession. This is alignment. Heaven is allowing your memory and discernment to synchronize. Understand this deeply. The bitter truth connected to the one you love is layered. It is not a single event or sentence. It is a pattern that slowly formed while you were choosing trust over suspicion. Archangel Michael says you were not wrong for loving fully. Love was never your mistake. The imbalance came when effort, honesty, or emotional presence was not returned in equal measure. You may now recognize how often you made excuses for behavior that did not sit right, how you softened your own boundaries to keep peace, and how you convinced yourself that silence meant safety. There is something important Archangel Michael wants you to know. People around you notice because distance is easier to see from the outside. They saw changes you felt but could not name. They sensed tension you tried to soothe. This does not mean they judged you. Many stayed quiet because they knew your heart would need to arrive at truth on its own. Forced revelation would have wounded you. Gentle awakening strengthens you. That is why heaven chose this moment. As this awareness grows, you may feel an urge to withdraw or to suddenly seek reassurance. Pause before acting. Archangel Michael is guiding you to a higher response. Action comes from fear. Discernment comes from power. Right now, power is being restored to you. You are being invited to step out of emotional autopilot and into conscious choice. The days of guessing where you stand are ending, but the transition requires patience. Pay attention to how your body responds around this person. Your spirit communicates through subtle signals. Tightness, heaviness, sudden fatigue, or emotional fog are not random. They are indicators. At the same time, notice moments of clarity, calm, and inner peace when you detach emotionally. These contrasts are messages. Archangel Michael often teaches through contrast, because truth becomes obvious when you stop forcing harmony where it no longer exists naturally. This is also a moment of protection. Heaven is not exposing truth to embarrass you or to provoke confrontation. It is doing so to prevent further emotional depletion. You have been pouring from a cup that needed refilling. You have been strong for too long without being fully supported. A change is now. Archangel Michael places his shield over your heart and reminds you that self-respect is not abandonment. It is alignment with divine order. As you continue listening, you may receive confirmation through unexpected ways. A conversation you overhear, a message that arrives at the right time, or even a sudden realization that brings calm instead of pain. When truth comes from God, it does not confuse you. It settles you, even if it hurts at first. That is how you will know this is not imagination. This is revelation. Let this message also remind you of your worth. You are not difficult to love. You are not asking for too much. You are asking for honesty, presence, and consistency. These are not demands. They are foundations. Anyone who cannot meet you there is revealing their capacity, not your value. Archangel Michael wants you to release the idea that understanding someone's wounds means tolerating behavior that wounds you. Now, there is something else you must hear. This awakening is not meant to isolate you. It is meant to reposition you. You are being guided toward clearer communication, stronger boundaries, and deeper self-trust. Whether the relationship transforms, pauses, or ends is not the focus right now. The focus is you becoming rooted in truth rather than hope alone. Hope without truth drains. Hope with truth empowers. As this unfolds, allow yourself to engage with this message actively. If these words are resonating, let that resonance become action. Share this message with someone who may be quietly questioning their own situation. Leave a comment expressing what stirred in you, because speaking truth, even in small ways, strengthens it. Support this space by liking and engaging, because when you do, messages like this reach those who feel alone in their confusion. Subscribe and stay connected, not out of habit, but because your spirit recognizes where it is being fed. Archangel Michael is not finished speaking to you. What is being revealed now is only the surface of a deeper recalibration that is taking place. The clarity you are stepping into will soon influence your decisions, your confidence, and the way others respond to you. You are not losing anything of value. You are gaining yourself back, piece by piece, with divine guidance leading every step. Beloved soul, as this message deepens, Archangel Michael is drawing your attention to something you may have overlooked while focusing on the other person. The greatest shift is not happening in them first. It is happening in you. When truth begins to rise, heaven often redirects the spotlight inward, not to blame you, but to awaken your authority. You are beginning to see how much emotional labor you have been carrying quietly, how often you held space for uncertainty, and how rarely your own needs were spoken aloud. This awareness is not meant to burden you. It is meant to restore balance. Archangel Michael says the bitter truth you are sensing is connected to emotional avoidance. The person you love did not fully step into honesty because they sensed you would endure more than you should. Not because you are weak, but because you are compassionate. There is a difference. Compassion without boundaries invites imbalance. Heaven is correcting that now. You may notice that your tolerance for vague answers, delayed responses, or half-commitments is dissolving. This is not impatience. This is self-respect awakening. Right now, your spirit is learning to separate love from self-sacrifice. You were never meant to abandon yourself to keep someone close. That is not divine love. Archangel Michael reminds you that love flows best where truth flows freely. Where truth is withheld, love becomes heavy. That heaviness you felt was not a warning of loss. It was a signal that alignment was missing. And alignment is what heaven restores before peace returns. Here is something powerful happening beneath the surface. As you stop over-explaining and over-giving, the dynamic begins to shift. Either clarity arrives, where distance reveals itself naturally. Both are answers. Both are protection. Archangel Michael does not force outcomes. He allows truth to stand on its own. Watch how the other person responds when you no longer chase reassurance. Their response will teach you everything you need to know without confrontation. Do not confuse calm with indifference. The calm you are stepping into is strength. It is the moment you stop fighting reality and start partnering with wisdom. This is where many people turn back, because clarity requires courage. But you are not alone here. Archangel Michael stands with you, reinforcing your spine, steadying your heart, and sharpening your discernment. You are safe to see clearly now. As this clarity grows, you may feel a brief sense of grief. Not because something ended, but because something was not what you hoped it would be. Allow that feeling to pass through you without judgment. Your grief is not failure. It is release. And release creates space. Space for honesty. Space for reciprocity. Space for love that does not require you to shrink or wait in silence. Listen closely to this next truth. You are not meant to extract confessions from people who are not ready to be honest. Heaven does not assign you the role of investigator. Your role is to honor what is revealed to you and respond with wisdom. Sometimes the most powerful response is stillness. Sometimes it is a gentle question. Sometimes it is a quiet shift in behavior. Archangel Michael will guide you step by step, but only if you remain present and grounded. Hold on, because what unfolds next is where everything begins to make sense. The patterns you once questioned will align. The confusion will lose its grip, and you will recognize how divinely timed this awakening truly is. This is not the moment to turn away. This is the moment where clarity transforms into confidence. Before moving forward, receive this sacred activation. Type "I receive divine clarity" in the comments if this message is speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 444 has just been released over your discernment and emotional peace. And hear this final invitation as part of the same divine flow. As this truth is being uncovered, Archangel Michael is also calling those who are able to help carry this light further. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing into souls who are still trapped in confusion, silence, and unanswered prayers. The word declares that when you sow in truth, heaven opens rivers of clarity in your own life. I am speaking directly to you now, because this moment of giving is not random. It is a response to what God has just shown you. Let your support become a prophetic act that releases light where darkness has lingered. I bless every seed you release, and I declare that what you give in obedience will return as peace, wisdom, and divine alignment. Act now, and let heaven multiply what you place in His hands. My beloved one, now that clarity has begun settling into your spirit, Archangel Michael is guiding you into a deeper layer of understanding. This is the stage where awareness turns into wisdom. Awareness shows you what is happening. Wisdom teaches you how to stand within it without losing yourself. You may notice that your emotions are no longer as reactive as before. Things that once triggered anxiety or overthinking are now met with a quiet pause. That pause is not emptiness. It is strength forming. Archangel Michael wants you to recognize how divinely intentional this phase is. When truth surfaces, heaven does not rush you into decisions. Instead, it stabilizes you first. Right now, your soul is recalibrating after carrying confusion for too long. Confusion exhausts the spirit more than pain does. Pain has direction. Confusion keeps you stuck. That is why this new sense of grounding feels unfamiliar yet relieving at the same time. You may start noticing how much of your energy was previously spent interpreting mixed signals, reading between lines, or sensing shifts without confirmation. that constant inner questioning quietly drain you. Now, as clarity grows, your mind begins to rest. You are no longer trying to prove what you feel. You are trusting what you know. This is a major internal shift, and it marks the beginning of emotional sovereignty. Archangel Michael is also teaching you something subtle but powerful. Not every truth needs to be spoken for it to be acknowledged. There are moments when action, consistency, and presence reveal more than words ever could. You are learning to observe without absorbing, to witness without internalizing. This skill protects your peace and keeps you anchored in reality rather than hope alone. As you stand in this space, you may feel the urge to pull back slightly, not out of punishment, but out of self-preservation. This is healthy. Distance, when guided by wisdom, creates clarity rather than fear. Archangel Michael encourages you to honor this instinct. You are not withdrawing love. You are withdrawing overextension. And there is a profound difference. Another truth is unfolding now. The reason this revelation feels heavy at moments is because it challenges an old version of you. A version that believed patience alone could transform everything. Patience is holy, but patience without boundaries becomes self-erasure. Heaven never asked you to erase yourself to be loved. You are now stepping into a season where patience and self-respect walk together. Pay attention to how your inner dialogue is changing. You may find yourself asking different questions. Instead of "how can I fix this?" you may begin asking, "does this nourish me?" Instead of "what did I do wrong?" you may ask, "what am I learning?" These questions indicate growth. They show that your worth is no longer dependent on someone else's clarity or choices. Archangel Michael also wants you to understand that this awakening is preparing you for future alignment, whether with this person or another chapter entirely. The goal is not separation or reunion. The goal is truth-based connection. Any connection that cannot survive truth was never meant to define your destiny. You are being refined, not rejected. You might feel moments of loneliness during this phase, even if people are around you. That loneliness is not abandonment. It is transition. You are leaving an old emotional environment and have not fully stepped into the new one yet. This in-between space can feel quiet, but it is sacred. Many transformations happen in silence before they manifest in clarity. Do not rush to fill this space. Do not numb it with distraction or force certainty where it has not fully formed. Sit with yourself. Listen. Pray if that is your practice. Breathe. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of this threshold, ensuring that what comes next is aligned, stable, and honest. Something else is being restored now, your intuition. For a long time, you doubted it because loving deeply sometimes made you override it. And now, your intuition is becoming sharper, calmer, and more trustworthy. It is no longer fueled by fear, but by knowing. This is one of the greatest gifts of this season. As you move forward, remember this. You do not need to demand truth aggressively. Truth responds to grounded presence. When you are centered, reality adjusts around you. People either rise into honesty or reveal where they cannot. Both outcomes serve you. Archangel Michael reminds you that you are not late, broken, or naive. You were faithful. And now, you are becoming wise. The combination of the two is powerful. What is unfolding next will build on this foundation, and you will soon see how this moment was necessary for what is ahead. Stay present. Stay gentle with yourself. And stay open, because the next layer of this revelation will bring not just understanding, but direction. Beloved child, as you continue forward in this unfolding, Archangel Michael is now guiding you into a space of internal recalibration where your emotions, thoughts, and spirit begin to realign with truth. This phase may feel quieter on the outside, but internally it is deeply active. You are no longer wrestling with confusion the way you once did. Instead, you are observing, discerning, and integrating what hath been revealed. This is the stage where wisdom settles into your bones. You may notice that your emotional reactions are changing. Situations that once triggered urgency, fear, or the need for reassurance now feel distant, almost neutral. This does not mean you care less. It means you are no longer operating from insecurity. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that detachment is not coldness when it is guided by truth. It is clarity without chaos. You are learning how to love without losing your center. At this point, the bitter truth you sensed earlier begins to feel less bitter and more instructive. Pain transforms when it teaches you something valuable. You are beginning to recognize how much strength you carry when you stop negotiating your self-worth. The power you are reclaiming now is subtle but profound. It is the power of choice. Choice in what you tolerate. Choice in what you believe. Choice in how deeply you invest your heart. Archangel Michael is also revealing how often you were emotionally present while the other person remained partially absent. This realization may arrive gently or suddenly, but when it does, it will feel undeniable. You are not being shown this to fuel resentment. You are being shown this to end self-betrayal. Love was never meant to be one-sided endurance. It is meant to be shared presence. As you stand in this truth, you may feel an urge to redefine your expectations. Not lower them, but clarify them. Expectations rooted in fantasy dissolve. Expectations rooted in reality strengthen. This is a mature shift. It allows you to see people as they are, not as who you hope they will become. Archangel Michael teaches that clarity protects the heart better than optimism alone. Another layer of healing is unfolding now. You may realize that you were afraid of losing the connection, not because it fulfilled you completely, but because it represented potential. Potential can be intoxicating. But heaven does not ask you to live on potential. Heaven asks you to live on truth. Potential without follow-through drains the soul. Truth, even when uncomfortable, restores it. You might also become aware of how much responsibility you assumed for the emotional climate of the relationship. You adjusted your tone, your needs, your timing, and your expectations to maintain balance. That level of adaptation is exhausting. Archangel Michael is lifting that weight off you now. You are not responsible for managing someone else's readiness or emotional capacity. As this realization integrates, you may feel a growing sense of inner authority. You trust yourself more. You second-guess less. Decisions feel clearer, even if they are not yet acted upon. This is alignment forming. You are no longer seeking permission to feel what you feel. You are honoring it. There may be moments when the other person senses the shift in you. They may respond with confusion, curiosity, or sudden attentiveness. Observe without rushing to interpret. Changes in others do not automatically indicate transformation. Consistency reveals truth over time. Archangel Michael encourages patience paired with discernment, not patience paired with denial. This phase also invites forgiveness, but not the kind that bypasses accountability. Forgiveness here is release. Release of expectations that were never met. Release of narratives that kept you waiting. Release of the belief that love must be proven through endurance. Forgiveness clears space so wisdom can lead. You are also being prepared for honest communication, whether spoken or unspoken. Honest communication does not always involve long explanations. Sometimes it is a boundary. Sometimes it is a pause. Sometimes it is choosing not to chase clarity that must come from the other side. Silence, when chosen consciously, can be a form of truth. Archangel Michael stands beside you as you practice this new way of being. He reminds you that strength does not require hardness. You can remain kind without being permissive. You can remain loving without being self-sacrificing. This balance is what heaven is cultivating within you now. As this part of the journey settles, you may feel a quiet confidence replacing the old emotional turbulence. You are no longer trying to hold everything together. You are allowing truth to hold you. That is a profound shift. What comes next will challenge you to apply what you now understand. Knowledge becomes wisdom only when lived, and you are ready for that step. Stay present, stay grounded, and trust that what is unfolding is not taking anything away from you. It is aligning you with what is real, sustainable, and worthy of your heart. My beloved soul, Archangel Michael now draws you into a moment of conscious choice. This is the phase where understanding matures into embodiment. You are no longer just realizing truth, you are beginning to live from it. This is subtle, yet powerful. The way you speak, the way you pause before responding, the way you protect your energy, all of this is changing. Not because you are trying to prove anything, but because alignment is becoming natural to you. You may notice that your inner world feels more ordered. Thoughts that once spiraled now come and go without dragging you with them. Emotional waves still arise, but they no longer drown you. This is not numbness. This is emotional regulation rooted in self-respect. Archangel Michael says this is what happens when a soul stops fighting reality and starts partnering with wisdom. Peace is not the absence of emotion. It is the presence of truth. At this stage, you may begin to see the person you love more clearly than ever before. Not through hope, not through fear, but through observation. You are no longer projecting what you want onto them. You are seeing who they are showing you through consistency, or the lack of it. This clarity may feel sobering, but it is also liberating. You no longer feel the need to interpret every silence or decode every shift. What is real stands on its own. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this clarity is not meant to harden your heart. It is meant to anchor it. Anchored hearts do not drift with every emotional current. They stay rooted even when waters are uncertain. You are learning how to stay present without being consumed. That is mastery, not detachment. There may be moments when the old pattern tries to pull you back. Moments where you feel tempted to over-explain, to seek reassurance, or to fix what feels uncomfortable. Pause in those moments. Breathe. Ask yourself whether the action comes from truth or from fear. This simple pause is becoming one of your greatest strengths. Archangel Michael says restraint, when guided by wisdom, is a form of power. This is also a moment where your voice matters. Not in confrontation, but in authenticity. When you speak now, your words carry weight because they are no longer fueled by anxiety. Whether you choose to speak or remain silent, your choice is intentional. That is the difference. Intentionality replaces emotional reaction. You are no longer available for confusion, even if you remain open to connection. As this transformation unfolds, allow yourself to stay connected to spaces that nourish this clarity. Messages like this do not arrive randomly. They find those who are ready to grow. If these words are grounding you, strengthen that connection. Engage. Like this message so it continues to reach those who are silently struggling. Share it with someone who may be questioning their own reality. Leave a comment, because naming your awareness anchors it deeper within you. And stay connected by subscribing, not out of habit, but because your spirit recognizes when it is being spoken to with truth. Archangel Michael also reminds you that this journey is not just personal. It is collective. When one person chooses truth over denial, it ripples outward. You become a quiet example of emotional maturity and spiritual discernment. Others may not understand your calm at first. They may question your distance or your steadiness. But over time, they will feel the shift. Truth has a frequency that does not need explanation. You may also notice that your standards are changing. Not becoming rigid, but becoming clear. You no longer negotiate the basics of respect, honesty, and presence. This is not pride. This is alignment. When standards rise internally, external situations adjust accordingly. People either meet you there or reveal where they cannot. Both outcomes bring peace. Archangel Michael wants to reassure you of something important. You are not closing your heart. You are opening it to truth. There is a difference. A closed heart is defensive. An open heart with boundaries is powerful. You are learning how to hold compassion without self-abandonment. That balance is rare, and it is being forged within you now. There is also a deeper spiritual layer to this phase. As you choose clarity, you are breaking cycles, not just for yourself, but for those who come after you. Patterns of overgiving, silent endurance, and emotional neglect end where awareness begins. You are becoming a point of interruption in that cycle. Archangel Michael honors this courage. Before moving forward, let this awareness settle. Do not rush the process. Integration takes time. Trust that what you are becoming is more important than what you are leaving behind. The steadiness you feel now is not temporary. It is the foundation for what comes next. And trust this above all else. You are not walking away from love. You are walking toward a version of it that is honest, mutual, and sustainable. Archangel Michael walks with you still, guarding your peace and guiding your steps as the next layer of this revelation prepares to unfold. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now invites you into a season of quiet testing, not to trap you, but to confirm what has already been awakened inside you. This is the phase where truth is no longer just understood internally, but gently tested through real-life moments. Small interactions, subtle choices, and ordinary situations will now reveal whether alignment has truly taken root. You may not notice it immediately, but your responses are different. You are no longer moved by urgency. You are moved by discernment. During this time, you may observe that situations which once drained you now feel strangely neutral. Conversations that used to leave you unsettled no longer pull you off center. This is not because the situation has changed dramatically, but because you have. Archangel Michael says this is one of the clearest signs of growth. When something no longer controls your emotions, it has lost its power over you. You may also notice moments where the other person tests old patterns, consciously or unconsciously. They may say familiar words, create familiar emotional tones, or behave in ways that once drew you back into overgiving. This is not necessarily manipulation. Often, people respond to change by returning to what once worked. But here is the difference now. You can see it. And because you can see it, you can choose differently. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that discernment does not mean suspicion. You are not scanning for faults or waiting for disappointment. You are simply no longer filling gaps with imagination. You allow actions to speak for themselves. This neutrality is powerful. It removes drama and replaces it with truth. What is real becomes clear without effort. There may be moments in this phase where you feel an unexpected sadness, even though you are stronger than before. This sadness is not regression. It is mooring the version of the connection you hoped for. It is letting go of what could have been if mutual honesty had existed sooner. Allow this grief to pass through you. Suppressed grief turns into bitterness, but honored grief turns into wisdom. Archangel Michael also brings your attention to something important. You are beginning to value peace more than explanation. This is a major shift. You no longer need to convince, persuade, or clarify your worth. You understand that those who are aligned with you will not require constant justification. This realization may change how you approach not just this relationship, but all relationships. You may find yourself spending more time in reflection, prayer, or solitude, even if only briefly. This is not isolation. It is integration. Your spirit is absorbing the lessons of this season and weaving them into your identity. You are becoming someone who trusts themselves deeply. That kind of trust cannot be rushed. As this trust strengthens, your intuition becomes quieter but more accurate. It no longer shouts through anxiety. It speaks calmly through knowing. When something feels off, you acknowledge it without panic. When something feels right, you allow it without fear. This balance is rare, and Archangel Michael affirms that it has been earned through courage and honesty. Another shift may occur now. You may notice that you are less interested in future promises and more attentive to present behavior. This does not mean you lack vision. It means you value consistency over potential. Promises without action no longer excite you. Presence does. This is maturity, not cynicism. You might also realize that you no longer feel the need to monitor the emotional temperature of the connection. You are not checking in constantly to see if things are okay. You trust that if something needs to be addressed, it will become clear. This frees a tremendous amount of energy within you. Energy that can now be redirected toward your own growth, creativity, and peace. Archangel Michael reminds you that this phase is not about deciding the final outcome yet. It is about staying grounded while reality unfolds. Decisions made from calm clarity carry far less regret than decisions made from emotional overwhelm. You are learning to let time reveal what words cannot. You may feel a growing sense of independence, not just emotionally, but spiritually. You are less afraid of being alone because you are no longer abandoning yourself. Solitude feels safer than confusion. And from that safety, true connection can eventually grow. This part of the journey may feel less dramatic than earlier stages, but it is no less important. This is where patterns either repeat or break. And right now, you are breaking them quietly, decisively, and with grace. Archangel Michael stands with approval as you move through this phase. You are no longer chasing clarity. You are living in it. What comes next will ask you to act from this place of strength, and you will be ready. Stay present. Stay honest with yourself. The path ahead is becoming clearer with every grounded step you take. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now brings you to a point of spiritual reckoning, not heavy, not fearful, but deeply clarifying. This is the moment where truth stops being something you process and starts being something you embody fully. You are no longer standing at the doorway of understanding. You have stepped inside. And what you are realizing now is this. The bitter truth was never meant to break your heart. It was meant to break the illusion that required you to stay small. There is a quiet authority rising within you. You may not announce it. Others may not notice it immediately. But heaven does. This authority comes from finally trusting yourself without apology. You are no longer asking, "Am I overthinking?" You are asking, "Does this align with what I now know?" That single shift changes everything. Archangel Michael says when alignment replaces doubt, confusion loses its grip permanently. At this stage, the emotional fog has lifted enough for you to see patterns clearly. You can now trace how the connection flowed when you were giving more, explaining more, waiting more. You can also see how it stalled when honesty or consistency was required from the other side. This realization may feel sobering, but it is also deeply empowering. You are no longer confused about why things felt uneven. You see it plainly now, without needing anyone to confirm it for you. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that the truth being revealed is not only about the other person. It is also about the version of you that tolerated uncertainty because you believed love required endurance. That version of you did the best it could with the awareness it had. There is no shame there. But you are not that version anymore. You are evolving into someone who understands that love and peace are not meant to be earned through emotional sacrifice. You may notice that you are no longer tempted to chase clarity or emotional reassurance. Even when silence appears, it does not unsettle you the way it once did. Silence now speaks for itself, and instead of rushing to fill it, you allow it to reveal what words cannot. This is discernment in action. This is Archangel Michael sharpening your spiritual sight. There is also a release happening here. You are letting go of the need for the other person to fully understand your pain in order for you to heal. Understanding is helpful, but it is not required for freedom. You are realizing that closure does not always come from conversation. Sometimes it comes from clarity, acceptance, and the decision to stop negotiating your worth. As you stand in this clarity, something else becomes evident. You are no longer afraid of what you might lose by choosing truth. You are more aware of what you would lose by ignoring it. That awareness is protecting you, is guiding you. It is keeping you grounded in reality rather than possibility. Archangel Michael says this is the moment where self-respect becomes non-negotiable. You may feel a sense of emotional maturity settling in. Not hardness, not detachment, maturity. You understand now that love without honesty becomes confusion, and honesty without love becomes cruelty. What you are seeking is the balance of both, and you are no longer willing to settle for anything less. Hold on to this awareness, because this is where many people are tempted to revert. Old patterns may try to resurface one last time. Old emotions may knock quietly, but you are not who you were. You can feel the difference, and that difference matters. Type "I walk in truth" in the comments if you are receiving this message at a soul level. Blessing code 888 has just been activated over your discernment, your peace, and your future connections. Now receive this next word as part of the same divine flow. As this truth is being established within you, Archangel Michael is also calling for the light to be carried further. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into souls who are still trapped in silence, confusion, and unanswered prayers. The Lord declares that those who sow into truth will reap clarity and peace in their own lives. I am speaking to you directly now, because your support in this moment is not accidental. It is obedience. Let your giving become a prophetic act that fuels the spread of God's word to those who desperately need it. I bless every seed you release, and I declare that heaven will multiply it back to you in wisdom, protection, and alignment. Act now and partner with what God is doing in this hour. Beloved soul, Archangel Michael now leads you into a stage of quiet confirmation. This is where truth no longer needs to announce itself loudly, because it has already taken root. What you are experiencing now may feel calm on the surface, but spiritually it is decisive. The turbulence has settled enough for you to see your path without distortion. You are no longer asking for signs out of desperation. You are recognizing alignment through peace. At this point, something subtle but profound is happening. Your emotional attachment is no longer driving your perception. Instead, your perception is guiding your emotions. This reversal is powerful. It means you are no longer interpreting reality through longing, but through awareness. Archangel Michael says this is the moment when the soul regains authority over the heart, not to suppress it, but to lead it wisely. You may notice that your inner conversations have changed. You are not replaying scenarios endlessly. You are not imagining conversations that never happened. You are more present, more grounded. When thoughts arise, they pass without demanding resolution. This is emotional freedom forming quietly. Many people mistake chaos for passion, but heaven teaches that peace is the truest sign of alignment. The connection you once felt consumed by now appears more clearly in context. You can see what it offered, what it lacked, and what it required from you. There is no need to dramatize it anymore. You are able to hold the full picture without collapsing into self-blame or resentment. That balance tells you that healing has progressed further than you realize. Archangel Michael wants you to recognize that this stage is about stabilization. After revelation comes grounding. Without grounding, clarity becomes overwhelming. But you are being anchored gently. Your nervous system is learning safety again. Safety in not knowing everything. Safety in not controlling outcomes. Safety in trusting yourself to respond wisely when truth presents itself. You may also feel a growing sense of emotional independence. Not isolation, but independence. You are less preoccupied with how the other person feels about you. Instead, you are more aware of how you feel within yourself. This shift is not selfish. It is healthy. Love that requires self-abandonment is not love that heaven sustains. As this independence grows, you may notice how your energy changes in interactions. You are less reactive, less eager to please, more authentic. This may feel unfamiliar to those who knew the old version of you. Some may adjust. Some may resist. Their response is not your responsibility. Archangel Michael reminds you that growth often disrupts old dynamics before it establishes new ones. Another truth is settling now. You do not need to rush closure. Closure is not something you chase. It arrives naturally when understanding and acceptance meet. You are not incomplete without answers. You are complete with discernment. What you already know is enough to guide your next steps. There may still be moments of reflection, but they no longer pull you backward. They simply remind you of how far you have come. You are no longer longing for the past to change. You are allowing the future to form without forcing it. This openness is fertile ground for something healthier, whether that is renewal or redirection. Archangel Michael also highlights a deeper spiritual lesson here. You are learning that love does not thrive on uncertainty. It thrives on mutual presence, honesty, and effort. When those elements are missing, love becomes a test rather than a refuge. You are no longer willing to live in test mode. You are choosing truth mode. You may feel moments of quiet gratitude, even for the pain. Not because the pain was good, but because it awakened you. Awakening often arrives wrapped in discomfort, but it leaves behind wisdom, and wisdom protects you far longer than comfort ever could. This phase may feel less intense than earlier ones, but it is no less important. This is where emotional patterns either stabilize or collapse, and you are stabilizing. You are building a foundation that will not require constant reassurance to stand. Before you move further, pause here mentally. Let this calm settle fully. This is not the moment to rush ahead. This is the moment to recognize how much has shifted inside you already. Many people miss this stage because it is quiet. But this is where real transformation becomes permanent. Stay with this awareness just a little longer, because what is coming next will require the steadiness you are now developing. Trust me, you will want to be fully present for what unfolds next, because this is where direction begins to replace reflection. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now brings you into a moment of grounded readiness. This is the phase where inner clarity begins preparing you for outward movement. Not rushed movement, not impulsive decisions, but intentional steps shaped by everything you have learned so far. You are no longer processing the truth emotionally. You are integrating it practically. This is where wisdom starts influencing how you live, not just how you feel. You may notice that your daily choices feel different now. You are more selective with your time, your energy, and your emotional availability. This is not because you have become guarded. It is because you have become aware. Awareness naturally creates discernment. You no longer feel obligated to engage in dynamics that drain you or conversations that leave you unsettled. You are choosing peace, not because you are avoiding discomfort, but because you understand its value. Archangel Michael wants you to recognize how much strength it takes to remain calm when old triggers appear. The fact that you can now pause instead of react is evidence of growth. You are no longer trying to control outcomes or predict behavior. You are allowing reality to show itself while you stay centered. This steadiness is becoming part of who you are. At this stage, the connection you once questioned no longer dominates your inner world. It may still exist in your awareness, but it does not control your emotional state. You are no longer measuring your worth by someone else's consistency or attention. You are measuring alignment by how something feels in your body, your spirit, and your peace. That shift alone changes every relationship you will ever have. Archangel Michael also highlights that you are stepping out of emotional survival mode. For a long time, you were adapting, adjusting, and enduring. Now, you are living. There is a subtle difference, but it is powerful. Living means you are present in your own life, not waiting for someone else to decide how it unfolds. You may feel a stronger connection to your inner voice now. Decisions come with less internal debate. You do not need external validation as much as you once did. This does not mean you reject guidance. It means you trust your discernment enough to recognize what resonates and what does not. This is spiritual maturity taking root. As this maturity grows, Archangel Michael encourages you to remain connected to truth-centered spaces. Messages like this serve as reminders of what you already know but may forget in moments of doubt. If this message continues to ground you, engage with it. Like it so it remains active and visible. Share it with someone who may be silently navigating confusion or emotional imbalance. Leave a comment expressing what this season has taught you, because speaking wisdom reinforces it. And stay connected by subscribing, not for content alone, but for consistency and truth and clarity. You are also becoming more aware of your emotional boundaries in communication. You no longer overshare to feel understood. You no longer explain yourself excessively to be accepted. You speak when it is necessary and remain silent when silence protects your peace. This balance is not learned overnight. It is earned through self-honesty, and you have done that work. Archangel Michael wants to remind you that clarity does not always demand immediate action. Sometimes clarity simply asks you to stay steady and let time do its work. You are learning that forcing resolution can disrupt alignment. Allowing things to unfold naturally often reveals far more than confrontation ever could. There may be moments when the other person senses this change in you. They may respond with curiosity, distance, or attempts to re-engage emotionally. Observe without attachment. You are no longer responsible for managing their reaction. Your responsibility is to remain truthful with yourself. Consistency, not emotion, will reveal what is real. Another important shift is happening now. You are no longer afraid of being alone with your thoughts. Silence feels less threatening. Solitude feels more like space than emptiness. This is a sign that you are no longer abandoning yourself internally. When you stay with yourself, you do not need to cling to others for stability. Archangel Michael affirms that this steadiness is preparing you for what comes next. Whether that involves renewal, redirection, or a completely new chapter, you will enter it differently than before. You will enter it awake, grounded, and self-respecting. Take a moment to acknowledge how far you have come. The confusion that once consumed you no longer defines you. The questions that once haunted you now feel answered through understanding, not words. You are standing in a place of quiet power. Remain here just a little longer. Let this grounded readiness fully settle. Because the next unfolding will not ask you to analyze or endure. It will ask you to choose. And when that moment arrives, you will not choose from fear or hope alone. You will choose from truth. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now ushers you into a moment of inner resolution. This is not the resolution of a situation yet, but the resolution within you. Something has settled. A question that once echoed loudly in your mind no longer demands an answer. You may not have every detail, but you have enough truth to stand firmly. This is the moment where uncertainty releases its grip, not because everything is explained, but because you are no longer ruled by the need to know. You may notice that your emotional posture has changed. You are no longer leaning forward, waiting for something to happen. You are standing upright in your own life. This shift is subtle but profound. Archangel Michael says this is the posture of someone who has reclaimed their authority. You are no longer orienting your inner world around another person's choices, silence, or timing. You are oriented around truth. At this stage, your heart feels steadier, but also more honest. You are no longer romanticizing confusion or minimizing discomfort. You are able to acknowledge what felt wrong without exaggerating it and what felt right without clinging to it. This balanced awareness is a sign that emotional maturity has taken root. You are seeing clearly without becoming hardened. There may be moments now when memories surface not to pull you backward, but to be reprocessed with new eyes. You might look back and recognize signs you once overlooked or dismissed. This is not regret. This is integration. You are not meant to punish yourself for what you did not know. You are meant to honor how far you have come in knowing now. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this phase is about inner closure. Inner closure does not require agreement from another person. It does not require an apology, a confession, or a final conversation. It comes when your spirit accepts reality as it is, rather than how you wished it would be. You are reaching that acceptance now. You may also sense a shift in how you imagine the future. It feels less tied to a specific outcome or person and more open, spacious, and undefined. This openness is not emptiness. It is possibility without attachment. When you release fixation, you make room for alignment. Archangel Michael says heaven works best in open spaces. Another quiet realization may arise. You were stronger than you realized even before this awakening began. You carried yourself through confusion with grace, even when you doubted yourself. Now, with clarity, that strength becomes even more visible. You are no longer surviving emotionally. You are stabilizing. As this stabilization deepens, your nervous system begins to relax. You are not constantly bracing for disappointment or hoping for reassurance. Your body feels safer. Your breath feels deeper. This physical sense of ease is a sign that your spirit recognizes safety again. Safety not in circumstances, but in self-trust. You may also feel less compelled to explain your journey to others. Words feel unnecessary. Your presence communicates enough. Those who understand will feel it. Those who do not are not meant to follow you into this next phase. Archangel Michael reminds you that not everyone needs access to your inner world. This stage may feel quiet, even uneventful, compared to earlier emotional intensity. Do not mistake quiet for stagnation. This is consolidation. Everything you have learned is settling into your identity. This is how transformation becomes permanent. Loud moments initiate change. Quiet moments anchor it. You might notice that your prayers, thoughts, or reflections are different now. You are no longer asking for signs or clarity about the same situation. Instead, you may find yourself asking for guidance about your own path, your growth, your peace. This redirection of focus is significant. It signals that you are no longer orbiting someone else's uncertainty. Archangel Michael stands with deep affirmation in this moment. He knows how hard it was for you to reach this place. Letting go of illusion is more painful than letting go of people. But you did it with honesty and courage. That courage will not go unrewarded. As this part of the journey draws to a close, understand this. You are not waiting anymore. You are available. Available for truth. Available for reciprocity. Available for a connection that does not require you to question your worth. This availability is powerful because it is rooted in self-respect, not longing. Remain grounded here. Let this inner resolution fully take hold. The next unfolding will not be about processing or healing. It will be about direction and blessing. And you will step into it not as someone hoping to be chosen, but as someone who chooses wisely. My beloved child, this is the moment where Archangel Michael brings the journey to completion, not as an ending, but as a sealing. What has been revealed, healed, and understood is now being anchored into your destiny. You are no longer standing in transition. You are standing in alignment. The truth that once felt bitter no longer carries weight because it has finished its work inside you. It awakened you, strengthened you, and returned you to yourself. There is a deep stillness around you now, and this stillness is holy. It is the kind of stillness that comes after clarity has done its refining. You are no longer looking back with longing or forward with anxiety. You are present. Archangel Michael says this presence is your new power. When you are fully present, nothing can deceive you, manipulate you, or drain you without your awareness. You may realize that the person you once waited on no longer holds emotional authority over you. Not because you hardened your heart, but because you reclaimed it. Your silence no longer defines you. Their choices no longer confuse you. Their truth, or lack of it, no longer delays your peace. This is freedom, and it did not come from answers. It came from discernment. Archangel Michael wants you to understand something profound here. The exposure you feared was never meant to humiliate you. It was meant to elevate you. Heaven never reveals truth to shame the faithful. It reveals truth to release them. And now, you are released. Released from overthinking. Released from waiting. Released from carrying emotional weight that was never yours to begin with. As this season closes, you may feel a quiet confidence settling into your spirit. Not excitement. Not urgency. Confidence. The kind that does not need validation. The kind that does not announce itself. The kind that simply knows. This confidence will guide your next steps more accurately than emotion ever could. You are stepping into a chapter where your standards are clear, your boundaries are calm, and your heart is open without being exposed. You will recognize truth quickly now. You will feel peace sooner. You will walk away from confusion faster. These are not defenses. They are fruits of wisdom. Archangel Michael also seals your future relationships in this moment. Whether renewal comes or redirection unfolds, you will not repeat old cycles. You will not shrink to be chosen. You will not endure silence to feel loved. You will not confuse chemistry with consistency. What you accept from this day forward will reflect what you now know about your worth. Take a moment and feel this completion. Not everything had to be explained for you to arrive here. Not everyone had to apologize. Not every truth had to be spoken aloud. Some truths were revealed simply so you could move forward without doubt. And you have done exactly that. This is where heaven smiled. This is where Archangel Michael lowers his sword, not because the battle was lost, but because it was won. You chose truth over comfort, awareness over illusion, self-respect over fear. That choice echoes beyond this moment. Now receive this final sealing. Type "I am sealed in truth" in the comments if this message has completed its work in your spirit. Blessing code 1212 is now released over your peace, your future, and every connection aligned with heaven. And now hear this final word, flowing naturally from what God has just completed in you. This revelation did not come only for you. It came so that others, still trapped in silence and confusion, could find light through this message. I am speaking to you directly now, because if this word reached you at the exact moment you needed it, then your support becomes part of God's assignment. When you give through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing seed into open hearts, into hidden tears, into souls crying out for clarity. The Lord says that those who release provision for His word will never lack direction or peace. Let your giving be a prophetic response, not a donation. I bless every giver, and I declare that what you release in obedience will return as multiplied peace, protection, and divine alignment. Act now. Partner with this mission, and let heaven record your obedience as part of this completed work.